Hello everyone, I'm about Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing us everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So today we have a huge amount of news related to The Walking Dead, the final season, aka The Walking Dead Season 4. Now, today was Telltale's big streams on The Walking Dead, the final season. We got a lot of info surrounding what will be happening with Clementine and her journey to find AJ and stuff like that, and what the future will hold for this final chapter in Clementine's story. We got a bunch of new character announcements, new locations, even gameplay. We got actual gameplay of The Walking Dead Season 4, which I am really stoked to talk about. So, first off, we're gonna go ahead and go over all the concept art of, like, the environment and such. Then we're gonna go into, character descriptions and, small story tales, and then finally we'll end it off by showing the there is a leak the footage that they showed. It got leaked, or part of it got leaked, and so we're going to be showing that as well too. So let's go ahead and jump right into the concept art for this. Okay, to start things off, we have this first screenshot, a concept art right here of what Telltale is called the boarding school lobby. Now, Telltale has confirmed that episode 1 of The Walking Dead, the final season, will take place primarily in this dilapidated boarding school, and that most of the people that we see in this group that Clementine is with are actually other children and teenagers. So it's really cool to see that we're finally getting, like, we've seen like kids in The Walking Dead be a thing, like, of course, since even the comics with Carl and everyone, but now this is the first time we've actually been seeing like a community that is mostly, if not entirely, consistent of children and teenagers, which I think is a really cool concept to bring into, to bring this like Hunger Games, Maze Runner type feel into the Walking Dead universe. I think that's a really good look. I love the look of this. It's very similar to New Frontier, but at the same time, it has its own little feeling to it that I really appreciate. The next piece of concept art we have here is of the headmaster's office. Now, instantly, I'm getting flashbacks to, if you remember in Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 4, the little house that Lee and everyone take shelter in when they get to Savannah, kind of say that. It's a mix of that, Carver's office from The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 3, and even a mix of the little house that Javier and were inside Richmond in in New Frontier in Episode 4 and 5. It looks a lot like that. We see, like, I gotta say, it's incredible, like, how, like, everything looks in this. You can really tell how much Telltale has improved since you see on the far right, you see this little arrow right here and this painting with like a red X over the painting's face, which I assume is probably maybe the headmaster of this school, and maybe whoever did this hated them. Keep that arrow in mind, because we'll get back to that later, as a character uses those arrows, so we'll get to that. We saw this little rocker shirt here, which may also be a hint to what Telltale has planned for one of the characters, and then we have this little nice deck right here, which is pretty nice. Now, our final piece of concept art as regards to like location concept anyway is actually the train station. Now, if you remember back from the key art for The Walking Dead Season 4, we saw the Clementine, when Clementine and AJ were surrounded by all those walkers, you see on the far left corner there was a train station, or I assumed it was a train station. So this screenshot, concept art basically confirms that yes, we will be encountering a train station in The Walking Dead, the final season. Now, in its follow-up stream that Skybound ran shortly after the Telltale stream ended, they did confirm that the train station and the boarding school are in the same area. So it's interesting to see where Telltale is going to go with this train station. It will play maybe like an outpost for the boarding school community. Who knows? I'm really looking forward to it. So we're gonna go on to my second favorite part of all this reveal, and that is our look at a bunch of new characters in The Walking Dead, the final season. So here we have our first look at the first new characters in The Walking Dead, the final season. We have here Marlon and his pet dog Rosie. Now, a lot of people I saw were very against the look of Marlon because of how douchebaggy he looks from the start. For those who don't know, Marlon and Rosie were actually teased a couple months ago before in the comic books. During one of the letter hacks for one of the more recent issues of the Walking Dead comics, a fan mentioned that how much they loved Ezekiel and Shiva as an animal-human duo, and so Robert Kirkman was wondering if he was planning to add any more animal-human duos into the comics or the TV show. And then he said, Robert Kirkman responded while saying that while he personally doesn't have any plans for it, he did say though to keep an eye out for The Walking Dead final season, which he did confirm will have a pair of that kind. So here we go. We have Marlon and his pet dog Rosie. Now, in the panel where they were introduced, Telltale described Marlin as being basically a teenage Kenny almost. You can tell here that he definitely like is going for the edgy look with the black Letterman's jacket, the red button-down shirt, and like all torn up jeans with big brown hiking boots. You also see that he has a bow strapped around his body with a little quiver at his side. So it seems as though very likely that Marlin has taken over the headmaster's office, as you saw the arrow in the portrait, as well as that weird like biker shirt on the wall, which leads me to believe this might be Marlin's room, or like his quarters. Another thing to know about Rosie is that Telltale mentioned that during what they were designing Marlin and Rosie, they had to remember that Clementine is actually afraid of dogs after her encounter with Sam in The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Clementine reacts to Rosie, considering that, like, of the last dog she met, which was Sam, nearly tried to kill her over a can of beans. So it's interesting to see how Marlin and Clementine will interact with each other. Maybe like Marlin will try to be nice to Telltale did acknowledge that Marlin is going to be like a very asshole like character, but he did say that he does have like a softer side to him. So it does seem to me like he'll be the Kenny 4.0, with Nick being Kenny 2.0 and Tripp being 3.0. Marlin to me seems like he will be he's going to be an interesting character. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can bring to this season. Also, another thing I should point out about Marlin and Rosie is that Telltale confirmed that they were able to confirm that Rosie will not die in episode 1 of season 4, which I think is pretty funny, considering how, like, they made Sam seem like it was gonna be a big part of the season, but then he just died in the very beginning of episode 1. Yeah, so I seems as though I feel like Rosie definitely isn't gonna make it throughout the entire season. Maybe she might be determined. Maybe it'll be like choice better to save Marlin or Rosie. That would be a pretty cool choice. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, I think if Rosie died halfway through like the season, then like be rescued by like Marlin, we gotta make sure like it isn't too much like Ezekiel with Shiva, because with spoiler alert, how like Shiva dies and like how Ezekiel grieves her loss after that. But we'll have to wait and see. And here we have our second new character for The Walking Dead, the final season, and his name is Lewis. Now, compared to Marlin, who was very apocalypse dressed, like with the torn up jacket and the boots and all that, Lewis here is looking a lot cleaner, very similar to Joan from New Frontier, as a matter of fact. We see him, he has this nice little brown trench coat. He's got mostly clean jeans and boots with a nice little green button down right there under the coat. Telltale described him as being a very charming character to me. So to me, he seems a lot like a kid Joan or Norma from Michonne, and this leads me to believe that Lewis might actually be an antagonist later on in the season. I honestly think that perhaps Telltale say that like he's like a very formal person, that he wants to keep like the traditions of the old world and make sure like not everyone forgets their way. So I think that maybe Lewis might see Clementine, Marlin, and the others as a threat to that, like as a danger to his idea of keeping like the Tracy old world. So he might want to like try to find a way to get them out of the community and such, or maybe kill them. Who knows? I honestly don't trust Lewis. I mean, I think he's a really cool character, but I think he may end up being an antagonist, if not the main antagonist of The Walking Dead, the final season. Now, right here, we have who I think is going to be my favorite character of The Walking Dead, the final season. Here we have Violet. And now, Telltale described her as being essentially more of a pragmatic survivalist character. So essentially, she is Molly 3.0. She is the next Jane and Molly. I'm really digging the way she looks. To me, it could be possible that she looks very similar to Molly, so much so I think she might actually be Molly's little sister, because if you remember in The Walking Dead Season 1, Molly said that she had a sister who lived in Crawford with her, but the thing is she had diabetes, and so she wouldn't be allowed to live at Crawford. But in order to keep her there, Molly had an affair with Crawford's doctor in order to constantly getting medicine for Violet. We never knew what truly happened to, or I assume it's Violet. We never truly learned what happened to Molly's sister. Everyone just assumed that that she died at some point, because eventually Molly said that she couldn't do it anymore. So they just went up and left Crawford. So it's assumed that Molly's sister died, but maybe she did. Maybe Violet is Molly's sister. Who knows? But I love her design. I honestly look. She's got a little like backpack or like sheath or something on her chest, like there, with this black vest. Like homemade vest, and then she's got like a gray t-shirt with a black lawn sleeve under it. She's got a little knife sheath on her right hip there, and then you got like, I love how she's got her the boots are mission. She actually has looks like leather armor, or like some sort of armor on her right shin, which is very similar to if you remember Trip in New Frontier, he actually had like he had armor on his, like, he had like wrist armor, like, to prevent for walker bites. That's really cool that like Violet is like a very survivalist. Like, you see her she has the armor duct taped to her right ankle. I really think that's cool. Honestly, I think Clementine and Violet are gonna be like really close this season, and I can't wait to see how Violet is, because honestly, she's the character I'm looking forward to most in this game. And now here is our final new character for The Walking Dead, the final season, and his name is 10, like the actual number. His name is 10. I thought, when I first saw this screenshot, I thought, oh, it was AJ at age 10, which I'm like, okay, that's a really, really big time skip, but I'm not gonna say. But no, his name is actually 10, which I think is really weird. So I'm assuming that perhaps, why is he called 10? I don't know if 10's his real name, or maybe everyone just calls him 10 because no one knows his real name and that he's 10 years old or something. I don't know, but you can see, like, I feel like he's going to be the Sarah / Mariana / Clementine or season 1 Clementine of the final season, other than AJ, of course. So 10 here, we see he's very innocent. He has this nice little blue beanie hat with a blue t-shirt and white lawn sleeve under it. He's got these little patchwork jeans that are kind of torn up, and then he's got these big red boots, like rain boots on, with all ducted together. A little Easter egg here is that actually Telltale pointed out in their Skybound stream that 10's boots are actually Science Dog boots, which is a reference to another series made by Robert Kirkman, which has been referenced constantly in The Walking Dead. We had Duck mention it to Clementine in The Walking Dead season 1, and then even in seasons 1 and 2 of The Walking Dead TV show, Carl wore a Science Dog t-shirt. So it's really great to see that Telltale keeps doing stuff like this. I honestly think that 10 is a really cool character, but wait, there's more to talk about 10. Now, if you see here in this next screenshot, 10 seems to have some pretty fucked up part of his face. You can see the right side of his face. He's got this huge growth or something that on the whole right side of his face, all the way down to like the the side of his neck. We don't know exactly what this is yet. Whether or not if this is a burn mark, or if 10 is suffering from some kind of disease. Maybe 10 is even immune to the Walker virus. I highly doubt that's possible, considering, like, I think Robert Kirkman confirmed that, like, we're never gonna, like, see a cure be made, but who knows? Maybe, like, I definitely think there's more to this 10 than we think to me, it looks like a burn, honestly, very similar, like, to Dwight, but I'm not sure. Maybe, like, 10 was caught in some kind of fire that gave him amnesia, and maybe that's why everyone calls him 10. I'm not sure, honestly. 10 is a really mysterious character, so I'm looking forward to see what we have in store for him. But for now, that wraps up all of our stuff about like the new characters for the final season. Now I'm just gonna head and go into some story details for season 4. And for those of you who are concerned about 10 being like the new Mariana and then just getting popped at the end of episode 1 of this season, don't worry. Telltale has confirmed that 10 will be a minor character in season 1, but they'll be fleshing him out more later on during the season. So this leans to me, at least, that 10 will survive up until about it will definitely survive up until around episode 3 or 4-ish. I think he'll definitely survive episodes 1 and 2. Not sure about episode 3, and even less sure about episode 4. But 10 will definitely get a lot of screen time this season, which I am looking forward to seeing more of him, definitely. Alright, so now we're going to talk about some minor story details for The Walking Dead's final season. So currently, Telltale has confirmed that actually we will start the final season with AJ already with us, which is, I believe, is very, very interesting. So we are not going, the game will already start with Clementine picking up AJ, which I think makes sense considering that we have Clementine and AJ together in the shot. So maybe this is like where they've taken shelter now. Maybe we'll get like a couple flashbacks in the beginning, like maybe we'll get like a 5-minute sequence in the beginning of episode 1, like explaining how Clementine found AJ and then get them back, and then something happens that forces them to go to this boarding house. Who knows? And so anyway, that's really all we know. And that other than that, I mentioned previously that the what do you call it? The train station is linked to the boarding school. So yeah, it seems as though Clementine will find AJ very early on in Season 4, Episode 1. And then the rest of the season will be about Clementine living with all of these new kids in this boarding school, trying to protect AJ and making like a new community as such, that I am really looking forward to. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and look at some in-game footage of The Walking Dead, the final season, which is something I bet you all are dying to see. Let's go ahead and look at this. Alright, so what you're seeing right now is actual in-game test footage of Violet and 10 in the game's engine. I gotta say, I absolutely love the way Telltale shows for their art style for the final season. It's a good mix of the more cartoonish, like actual like, comic book style of seasons 1 and 2 mixed in with the more realistic elements of New Frontier. And it's a good balance. Like you can see right here that 10 and Violet look very, I gotta say, can I say again how awesome Violet looks? Honestly though, I really like Violet, and I can't wait to see more of her this season. And you gotta see like how much Telltale has improved with the way their physics have improved. Like you can see right here, you can see like the actual like how all Violet's like vest is actually like blowing in the wind as like she stands there, and like 10 like I think you can see like 10's hair, definitely Violet's hair, but 10's hair too like moves around. But now this is a thing that Telltale has been known for, like that they never really had a proper physics engine with their tool. From Walking Dead Season 1 all the way up to The Walking Dead Season 2, Telltale didn't have any physics. So, like, Clementine's hair, like, her ponytail, her pigtails, they just kind of, like, floated there. They didn't have any physics to them, really. It was kind of weird. Like, same with, like, Kenny's hair, it didn't really have any physics. Then, Tales from the Borderlands kind of, fixed that, like, when they made, Fiona and Sasha's hair kind of move, but that was all like animated like by the developers. It wasn't actual physics. Then in Batman and New Frontier, they kind of experimented by giving like like Selena and Vicky had like moving hair, and then New Frontier definitely like a lot of characters had moving hair. Like you like had Javi's like hair blowing in the winds along with like David or Kate and Clementine even. But to see like now we're in the final season of The Walking Dead, and now we see like Violet and 10's like actual clothes are like affected by the environment as well as like their hair and like and stuff. I think that's really incredible to see how far Telltale has come. And I really like how the shading and styles go. Like if you look behind 10 and Violet, you see all of like the shading and how like the darks against the train station. It looks almost like it almost looks like it's like part of the comic book. That's actually, that's train station. That's not like a backdrop that's like, oh, they just dropped it in there. That's actually the train station, but it's shaded so it looks like it's in the background. I think that's incredible. I absolutely love how Violet and 10 look in the game. I really wish we could have seen Marlon and Lewis in this style as well, but I gotta say, I am loving this. But now, what you've all been waiting for, we actually have 40 seconds of the sneak peek gameplay of The Walking Dead, the final season. I gotta say, this stuff you're about to see right here is groundbreaking. So I was gonna shut up, let the video play for itself, and then just talk a little bit about it afterwards. So wow, what a tease, am I right? So yeah, that was our first look at actual gameplay footage of The Walking Dead, the final season. It seems as though Telltale wasn't kidding when they were going to be reworking how Telltale is from the ground up. And you can definitely see it here. No longer are the days of fixed camera angles with cursors and a point-and-click style. We actually have full-on Life is Strange style exploration here. Telltale even said that in their Skybound stream that they are focusing, for The Walking Dead the final season, they're focusing on more of a exploration style that was very similar to The Walking Dead Season 1. And you can see it right here. You have this footage of Clementine, who is without her hat, honestly enough. We actually get a better look at her well, let's just start right down. So this little gameplay snippet starts with Clementine. We can't say for sure whether or not this is where the demo actually starts, but we see Clementine walking through this forest that's very next to the closest train station. We see this walker tied up next to a tree, and then she comes across a brick. Now, you see here, normally, this is a normal Telltale game. This would be a fixed camera angle. You'd move your cursor over the brick and say, like, press A to look at, press Y to look at brick, press A to pick up the brick, and so on. And then, but now, we have this third-person camera angle very similar to Life is Strange. And so then when Clementine walks over to the brick, it's just an A hovers above the brick saying to use it. It's very similar, once again, very similarly to Life is Strange. So we have the clip here of Clementine picking up the brick. She seems like to be very, very worn down. We see her jacket. When she picks up the brick here, we actually get a very good look of her proper hairstyle. Now we see it still has the kind of let's call it the Fiona cut, the Lilith cut that Javi gave her at the end of New Frontier, but it's grown back a little bit. Like, you see, like, it still has a little bit of the Lilith hair, like the little bit covering like the left side of her face. But you see, she actually has one pigtail in the, like, awkwardly, like, tied up on the left side of her back of her head, which I assume is because her hair has been growing back a while. You see her clothes are really tattered. Her jacket that she put on at the end of New Frontier is very torn up. Her jeans are a little bit, and her shirt is all dirty. I'm trying to see right now. If you actually look really closely as Clementine picks up the brick, she is missing her right ring finger, just like so this is just like the Alone ending in New Frontier. So it seems as though, just like in New Frontier, your ending at the end of Season 2 will have an impact on how Clementine looks in the end, in the final season. So if you got the Alone ending, she'll have the missing finger. If you got the Wellington ending, she'll have the scar on her cheek. If you got the Kenny ending, she'll have the scar on her forehead. And if you got the Jane ending, she'll have the tattoo of AJ on her hand. So anyway, Clementine goes out to pick this brick up, and she just goes straight up to this walker, and then we see the famous Telltale quick time event, beat it up all on the walker's face. So then Clementine smashes the brick against the walker's head, killing it. And it's really cool. You can see how the blood splatters against the car. It looks really, really good. I absolutely love how Telltale is handling blood in this. If you actually look at the car, you can see little graffiti etched in. You see, stay away from this house right there where the blood splatter is. And then you see on the car door, listen before it's which I assume is listen before it's too late. So obviously maybe this is like Marlon and Lewis and the rest of the group trying to ward off Clementine and other intruders, perhaps. Anyway, we see Clementine back away from the walker now, and we see the train station that has been seen in the key art and the concept art in the background. Clementine looks at the walker, and then we hear a gunshot ring out coming from inside the train station. We hear walkers growling inside the train station. We see as the gunshot goes off, we see the windows, a white light comes off. We don't know if it's a suicide or if someone's fighting back walkers. Clementine just stares at the train station for a while and then just starts walking towards it. And that's currently all we have of in regards to footage. But we actually have a still of the end of the footage right here. This is from the end of the event. We see Clementine here looking at the screen as several walkers approach her outside the train station, and then you see the Walking Dead, the final season logo pop up, which meant this was probably at the end of the demo. So we're not quite sure. What I assume is most likely that as Clementine walks up to the train station, all these walkers from nowhere, she looks at the screen, bam, the Walking Dead final season, and then she probably runs off. So yeah, that's pretty much about it right now. And so that was everything from the Telltale and Skybound panels about The Walking Dead, the final season, aka The Walking Dead Season 4. Now, I gotta say, I am even more hyped for this game than I was coming into this stream. I can't wait to see the new exploration system Telltale is doing, and they said that Telltale is focusing a lot more on exploration. So they're turning more into Life is Strange in the fact that Telltale will be focusing more on exploration and true gameplay segments, which, to be honest, that thing I am kind of worried about, because I think it works for Life is Strange because that's more of an exploration game, but like with more action, like story-driven games like Telltale, I don't know if really like going for a more like non-gameplay route with like less quick-time events is the way to go, because Telltale games are kind of good with their action pieces. I don't know if seeing a Telltale game with barely any action in it is a good thing. I mean, Walking Dead Season 1, yes, that didn't really have a lot of action to it, but when it did, it was like really strong. So I don't know if Season 4 is going to be able to do that. That's really my only concern for this season, but other than that, though, I think this is going to be a great send-off to Clementine, definitely. So that's it. Are you guys hyped? Are you guys even more hyped for The Walking Dead: The Final Season, as well as all these brand new characters in this new gameplay system? If you are, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.